part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's...
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast, the only podcast you need because that's what we say it is, but it's not true. How are you doing? Because guess what? I'm doing pretty well, and I'm your host, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, the man of tomorrow, and with me is that lovely man with a beard, like a real man, Mr. James Cole, the Superman of Red.
Hey, I have a beard now.
That's peach fuzz.
I'm gonna start
muting his chin.
You know what? I give
like, and I'll be the one that controls.
I give you props for
and that voice you heard is Bryan, who now has a beard.
I have testosterone. I mean, I have to get it out of my wife's purse, but I have some.
So the boys are back in town, guys. The boys are back in town. And we're here with a little bit of news and to review the new DC animated film, Green Lantern, Beware My Power. But first, we got a couple of things to take care of news-wise. One thing we missed last week when we did our Comic-Con chat was they announced, and there's a trailer for it, Milestone. There will be a documentary drop on HBO Max about Milestone Comics. And Milestone's making a big comeback in a lot of ways.
Big respect for that. Big respect.
And yeah, for real. And you know, like I've said, is I think instead of branching off the Milestone characters, just launch a Milestone universe show. One show that will feature all the characters, almost like an anthology show. They all in the same universe. And just be like, call it, Milestone.
Who's all in Milestone? We got
Hardware, Icon, Rocket, and Static.
Okay. Static.
Well, at
Static's
least,
my favorite of the group, I must say.
Those are the big four, I guess. Right.
Well, they had Static and stuff in the
I read a bunch of Icon last year,
and I know they've got Rocket and they've had Rocket and Icon and Young Justice, so they've utilized them well.
Yes, they have. So I look forward to the documentary. Years ago, I bought on AMC. There was a series. Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics, where it was like a documentary series, and every episode was like a mini documentary about a different thing in comics. And I ended up buying the whole season. It was only like 8 episodes or something, and the one was on Milestone, one was on Image, one was the history of Jerry and Siegel and Joe Shuster, one was on William Marsden, and I'm trying to remember what the other one was. There wasn't that many, and there was only one season. It was kind of a bummer because it was a really cool show.
Yeah, the Milestone comics are saved on a list on my DC universe. I haven't really been able to read much except for, a few books that I buy and that we talk about here. So my reading has actually gone very down. But yeah, I definitely got those Milestone books because they've relaunched Milestone. With the comics, and those I don't think are waiting 6 months to go to DC Universe. When those come out, I think they're available on DC Universe at the time.
I need to check my DC Universe. I'm behind on some reading. All right, so the next big news piece is we are approaching the 30th anniversary of the death of Superman, and there will be
who the heck's Superman?
He's this guy who flies around with a red cape. He's more than a man in a silly red sheet. He's more than a man looking for a dream.
Hasn't he died like 67 times in the past 20, 30 years?
There's only been like one death because every other version's been like some off-planet, like other Earth version that actually mattered. It happened in the 90s. You'll read about it sometime, Bryan.
Well, I'm currently reading Infinite Crisis. So reading that little bit of really how Superman came back for real, and that part's pretty cool. But
Yeah, I've recently become like really interested in the story and story arc of Superboy Prime. Just throwing that out there. Just reading some of that stuff. But yeah, it's going to be, is it 3 or 4 stories? It's going to be an 80-page special.
Four
with
stories.
With the original creative team back to write them, which is exciting. And
yay, Dan Jurgens!
We love Dan Jurgens.
Yeah, there's like 4 stories, and it's like 4 different perspectives on the death of Superman. So, like, I know one of them...
The Life of Superman by Dan Jurgens is a young John Kent finds out in school that his dad had died years earlier, as his parents never told him about that fateful day. In the midst of dealing with this emotional news, John and Clark need to team up to fight a new villain connected to Doomsday called Doombreaker. Standing Guard by Roger Stern is the epic battle between Superman and Doomsday from the Guardian's perspective. Time by Louis Simonson, the story of how the death of Superman looked from John Henry Irons' perspective. That's going to be exciting. Above and Beyond by Jerry Ordway, a powerful story of Ma and Pa Kent watching their son fight Doomsday live on television and going through Clark's photo albums with the feeling that their son always prevails. That's going to be some good stories.
Yeah, I like that, and I love how it's as far reaching as the Guardians. You know, the impact that Superman's had on the universe, and you know the death that his death impacts, at least what the Guardians think or feel about it. You know.
Yeah.
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 See?
Yeah, I think the story will show some serious character depth for John. You know, just having his son, you know, hear about how his dad died, and it's not just, you know, it's just not just a normal dad. Yeah, he came back, but like, you know, every son, if they have a good dad, thinks of their dad as invincible. Thinks they're, you know, nothing can beat their dad. Their dad's their hero. So for John to hear a story of their dad's greatest defeat, their dad's greatest weakness, you know, the day dad failed, is gonna get real character growth there, and that's why I'm really excited for Dan to be a part of that. Because I know Dan's kind of sad, like we are, that we never got to see John grow up in real time. So to get an emotional depth story for John Kent as Superman now. Oh wait, I'm so sorry. Is he a little boy in this? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's even better.
John.
That's even better. Yeah, that's even better. Yeah, that's the way it should be. So I'm very excited for that, and yeah, that's gonna be something special.
Yeah, there's something they're going to be releasing, like a reissued Superman 75 as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. There's going to be 2 or 3 different books coming out at the time for the 30th anniversary.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what's coming
excited.
out, you know. I certainly don't have the issues from that time.
I just have all the trades.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to buy the trade again unless Dan Jurgens like personally hands me a copy, like with an official new cover and his like blood on it. Like, it's worth so much.
Right. Well, at least I got him to sign a copy of the trade for me at Motor City when we went.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was nice. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. So, All right. Is there anything else of importance? Let me see. Oh, yes. As of this recording, it was announced
Like
that
2
Ben
hours
Affleck will
before
be.
this recording.
Ben Affleck is back as Batman for Aquaman 2.
Yeah, baby.
So, like I told James, is he's going to be the new Mira, and they're just going to use some high-tech green screen technology. And, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, at
well,
least they'll
when
have chemistry.
yeah, well, when I saw it earlier, it was a rumor today. Earlier today, I was like, "Oh, I wish this was true," and that's when you're like, "Yeah, he's gonna be Mira." But we get the announcement there, basically coming from Jason Momoa posting it on his Instagram.
Yeah.
That he's gonna be there in Aquaman 2, which is amazing. You know, I mean. He wasn't supposed to. His last appearance was supposedly supposed to be the Flash. You know.
Mm-hmm. But
I
the
mean,
Flash
like
is
I
now
said,
later next year. So this technically.
I mean, it technically happens before? Question mark.
Yeah. I'm gonna say
Like-
this happens before Flash.
Like, so does he
Well,
get more
Flash,
time, or
Flash
is he
has been. I'm sorry. Flash has been moved to. I mean, Flash moved once again. It's coming out June 2023, June 23rd, 2023, and then this movie comes out November 2022.
No, Aquaman comes out in March.
Yeah, They
Yeah.
Black Adam's coming out.
Oh,
They moved.
I'm messing that up with the original date for Flash. My apologies.
Yeah.
What they did was Aquaman was supposed to be December of this year, and Shazam was going to be spring of next year. And
Yeah,
they
kind of
just
same time it released. Excuse me, the first one.
They moved Shazam and Aquaman. They flipped them, and then put the Flash out in June. Because it was going to be awesome. It was going to be Black Adam in October. Well, that was back when Black Adam was supposed to come out in July? Yeah,
July, I believe.
we should have already seen Black Adam, and that's when Super Pets was supposed to be out in May. And everything got pushed. But yeah, so I would say Aquaman 2 takes place before the Flash, and I'm wondering if this is a retooling of maybe some scenes that would have had Mira. So instead of trying to recast around, they're going to use Batman in a role or something. Because we know that they're trying to figure out what to do about Mira.
Well, the biggest thing I think here is Ben was done, right?
Yeah.
Ben was done playing Batman. He was done after Justice League.
My freaking
He was
heart.
done after that horrible studio cut. He was done. He did not want to play the character anymore. He came back for the additional photography because Zach asked him to. And then after that was when he was brought in, he agreed to do the Flash. And now it's revealed that he is doing Aquaman. So,
and I bet that's because Jason asked him to.
Probably, but it's still what's going on behind the scenes, because he was done. And that was something that he had officially announced, and the initial reason he came back was because Zach asked him to.
I mean, let's look at the man. He not to get behind the scenes or anything, but he went through a lot.
Yeah, marriage
drinking,
fell apart.
marriage fell apart. I mean, he just got married last week.
Yeah, married J-Lo.
So they got back together, and he married her. So he's feeling good. So maybe the idea of coming back for a Batman for not a full feature or a big movie, but just a small supporting part sounded good to him. You know what I'm saying? He's like, hey, I'll do it. Jason wants me to, or whatever. Sure, I'll do it. Our luck will probably just be like Bruce Wayne in 3 scenes or something, and not even Batman. But hey, who cares?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It could be a test. I mean, we saw the little I messaged you guys right away in that trailer for Shazam when we saw Ezra running. And we're like, okay, yeah, the Flash movie's coming up, yeah. And then we saw that clip of Ben, and I mean, yes, Ben will be in the Flash movie, but that had me really wondering. And I messaged you guys right away, and I'm like, are they really going to do it? Are they really going to restore the Snyderverse? Like,
Well,
is this getting there?
I hate that term because restore the Snyderverse means you get his 5-movie arc.
Yeah,
And
I mean that's fair. You know,
and the rest of the
lack
movies
of
are
better
still,
words.
you know, his casting, his characters. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that are out there. So, I mean, the Snyderverse thing, I hate that hashtag. Because I mean, what I just want him to finish his Justice League movies, sure. But that's my thing is with Shazam, it already existed in that universe. He's just on the outside. Like, you know, he's already supposedly interacted with him because we saw Superman at the end, even though we didn't see his face. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Shazam's on the outside. He's kind of like the fanboy who got powers and he's doing his thing, you know? So it made sense to see Aquaman and Batman and the Flash.
Yeah, and then the way they kind of showed up in Peacemaker. No,
but also because we knew
I think,
Ben was going to appear in the Flash movie as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see more Snyder stuff in the DC universe. I mean, we all do. Over here, we all do. But we also agree that it's not the end all of the DC universe. It's silly to think that the DC universe rests on Zack Snyder and he can only direct DC movies. That's just silly and just it's not even plausible. You know what I'm saying? So like there has to be other directors involved. There's going to be more movies. There's going to be different tones. You know what I mean? But I think, you know, as like a groundwork for the DC universe, we have movies, we have castings that have come from what he had done. Like, yes, I want to see more, but I'm also not naive enough to expect or think that he's the only one who can do anything. And, you know, it's absolutely not true. So, I mean, if they continue using these characters and these actors in the role, then it's like it's already going. It's already continuing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's what's necessary if they want to continue building. You know what I mean? Because if they don't, they're going to have to start from scratch, recast all of these people, every single one of them. And that makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
You have nearly now 10 years worth of content. You know, 9 years now from the time Man of Steel dropped. You have 9 years worth of content that, you know, granted there should be a lot more. There should be a lot more cohesion, but you know, that's money and egos talking that screwed it all up to begin with. You know, knee-jerk reactions every time something came out and somebody said they didn't like something. They kept on changing things. It was ridiculous. It was a circus, and you know, hopefully now after 2 sales, things may finally get in line. You know what I mean? Not Andy Serkis, like clowns running the show.
You know, like the circus that Bruce Wayne asked Chase Meridian to.
Yeah. So it just, you know, you just hope that they finally can get things going, get things in a row so we can be excited for things coming out. You know, I mean, friggin' SDCC, Marvel released a slate out through 2026. You know what I mean? 4 years worth of content from now. And people are going to continue watching it. They're going to be excited for things that happen. You know, Marvel has continued to push out things that they have said, yeah, some projects have gone by the wayside and got canceled or got changed, but for the most part, they've said something, they've made up their mind, and they've continued with the plan. They've got people invested in what's happening, and it's impossible to do that when they keep changing things. And now, hopefully, with a new set of people, hopefully we're good where we're at, and they kind of, can get things in order and start actually making a plan.
Breathe, James. Just take a deep breath. It's Brian's turn to talk now. We're in the nest. I trust here. Bryan, would you go ahead and share with the group your feelings?
I'm agreeing with James. I hate James completely, but I'm agreeing with him here.
I hate you too, Bryan. It's cool.
Hey, burn hell.
That's Bizarro hate, guys.
It is, yes. It's Bizarro hate.
me hate you big time. Okay. Hulk like raging fire. No. I've kind of been talking to Tyler about this, as Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths is kind of going. My main issue, I, for lack of a better term, I know I said restore the Snyderverse, but the main thing is, Marvel just had somewhat of a plan. They stuck with it. Yes, some things have gone on the wayside. Yes, it has. COVID kind of really screwed with some things and all that. But they've made a plan and they went with it. And we had no idea watching Phase 4 really kind of where they were going. We had some ideas, and now me as a comic nerd that reads more than DC. No, I'm just kidding. I know where they're going. But with DC, it's tough to be a DC fan because they make something and then they just don't stick with it. And then they're like, and then you're wondering, okay, is Henry still Superman? Are we getting somebody else? What the hell is going on? Will you just give us some info so we can move on? If he's not going to come back, just tell us he's not going to come back. Tell us you're going to recast.
Well, like we said,
give us something.
This is only a 3-month-old company.
I know, shut up. But
you have to look at it like that. Like DC doesn't run like Marvel because Marvel's its own independent studio.
And that's the way DC should be.
And DC needs its own studio and not just be part of Warner Brothers. And that's the problem, is it's multi-leveled and it needs to run on its own.
I know, but if you I understand. But if you have so many damn stories going on right now, if you have so many different paths that are going, I mean, we have what Snyder was doing, and then we have the Justice League and that shit. I mean, we have Harley Quinn and that abomination of God, and then we have Shazam, which, is it part of it? I guess it is. It's off to the side, whatever. We have what was going on with Suicide Squad, we just have this over here, this over here, this over here. And then, you have Peacemaker with Suicide Squad. And it's like, okay, so what happened? What didn't happen? Where does this really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay. I understand, but we need some cohesive. There has to be a cohesive plan. I hate the concept of an omniverse. I hate the concept of of infinite Earths. I hate it, and the reason I hate it, I understand it from a writer's point of view. As a writing guy myself, I understand you want to be able to tell your own story, and you want it to actually, be a part of something. But when you're trying to tell a cohesive story, and this matters, and this matters, and this matters, and if the story sucks, we can just say, "Oh, this happened on Earth 1656," whatever.
Yeah.
There's no stakes. There's no consequence. There's no character growth. We have no idea what the hell is going on. You can't even follow in the damn comics, man, because this happens here, and then, for example, then you have 3 Jokers, and you're like, okay, well, when the hell did 3 Jokers happen? And then you see what Chip's going to do in Batman, and then you see this little tease of the 3 Jokers there, and you're like, oh, well, is this a sequel to 3 Jokers? Holy shit! I'm rambling James here because that's why we're
Well,
so
I
alike.
think the
But I just want things to matter.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think the infinite multiverse that they were, touting within the last couple of years was, and I think we discussed it, was kind of just Warner Brothers' excuse to say we can make whatever movies we want and it can be placed anywhere. It doesn't have to be a universe that, and I think, and in my opinion, like, I want to see movies that take place over here and take place over here and take place over here. Like, everybody have their own corner of the world, but when something happens, it can come together. You know what I mean? Like when we're talking
Yes.
about a film universe, because a film universe has to be a little more structured. Comic books, they can take place. What's the idea when you're writing comic books? There is no present. It's either happened or it's happening, or it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's how you write comic scripts. So it's different. Like when you talk about comics and the multiverse, and then movies. That was just an excuse that they used to say we can make whatever movies we want and it can be connected or it can't. You know what I mean?
And that's fine. And that's fine. Like you can have Joker over here, you can have you can you can have Shazam over here or whatever, but in this DC world, man, like you can't have a Superman cameo at the end of Shazam and then you just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know, is that Henry? Is it someone new? And it's been years. And I read an interesting article the other day. I think it was on on CBR or something like that. But it said, could Discovery cast Tyler as Superman in the movies because he does not cost as much as Henry? So from a budget point of view,
CBR.
I mean,
do you even read anymore? Don't you just like look at Muscle magazines and the pictures and comics and be like,
Muscle magazines look at him.
Okay, I'm done. I got nothing. I got nothing to that. I got no comment to that.
But no, I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, I mean, you could put Tyler out there, and he would do an amazing job. But once again, like, is it going to be a new version of Tyler? So, like, the third Tyler Superman we meet?
Hopefully with a good suit.
Oh, you'd have to. Because,
well, I mean,
you have to.
The guy. There's a reason his suit looks the way it does. I mean, the guy is shredded. He is in amazing shape, but he is not jacked. He is not very tall. He's not very.
He's chiseled.
Wide.
Chiseled.
He is, absolutely. He's in amazing shape. So, I mean, hell, you put Henry across from Ben Affleck, and Batman makes Henry look small. Like, you put Ben across from Tyler, and it's like looking at a kid in a costume.
So, but all right, enough with that. We've gone too long. It's time to talk some Green Lantern.
Yeah, I think we went off topic.
So here's my first question to you guys. Without thinking too hard, if you were in a Lantern Corps, what color would you be? James, you go first.
I'll go first. I'd like to think green, but I'd probably be red.
All right.
I'm thinking realistically,
Bryan, your turn.
Ironically, the same answer as James. I mean, I've been through a whole lot in my life. I'm still going through so much. But I have a whole lot of rage inside of me. So I think James and I would be rocking those Red Lantern rings.
I believe, and I would say that I would be blue. I try to inspire hope and goodness in other people, so I lean towards that I would be blue. Jania would be indigo.
Compassionate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm orange. You know, I mean, I like my things, but I don't think I'm orange. I definitely don't feel that I'm yellow. You know, instilling fear in people. I think everybody has their own fear in themselves. I mean, yeah, I would think that maybe I could go green, but I also, I've always had a temper that I've worked on my entire life. So, well, maybe since I was like 11, 12, you know what I mean? When you realize that you kind of have a temper, when it's possible to realize that you do get angry at little things. So yeah, I think, well, like when I almost broke my finger, like that pain came out as rage. Like I was mad. So
it's a good thought. It's a good, like, looking at yourself, like, introspective thing. So it's just something to think about. So what we are talking about is the recently released Green Lantern Beware My Power, which is the 5th film of the new continuity. The films being Superman, Man of Tomorrow, Justice Society, World War II, Batman, The Long Halloween, which I'm counting as one movie. Okay.
yeah.
Counting it as one movie. And The Constantine House of Mysteries. That one is a short, but that one solidifies that at the end of Apocalypse, when Constantine had the Flash reset everything, that this is the world that he created, that the Flash created. So I really like Constantine House of Mysteries. I really wish it was longer. I wish it had been just a full film and not a shorts collection. So, but the film stars Aldous Hodge as Green Lantern John Stewart. Some of you may recognize Mr. Hodge as being from Supernatural in season 2. And soon we will know him as Hawkman as he battles against Black Adam. It also has some other voice actors we'll get into as we go along. So, yeah, just we'll go kind of like beat by beat, but just overall, non-spoiler thoughts on the movie. Okay, we'll start with James.
Well, I thought it was great. I like that we got Green Lantern and Green Arrow traveling. That was pretty awesome. Some other characters had popped in there. I think compared to like an intro into this as the live action movie was introed, I think they did it so much better this time around. The mystery in space, kind of doing the detective work. Yeah, it was really good. I had a lot of fun with it. And I liked the cast of characters that were used. if I try to really talk about it more, I probably start getting into spoilers.
All right, Bryan, you go.
Can't spoil it, right?
Not yet.
That's why we say
I
no
think-
spoilers.
Yeah, I think Brian's got more to say on it than me.
It should have been Kyle. It should have been Kyle. I understand what they were doing with John. I understand the story they were trying to tell. But it should have been Kyle. No spoilers.
And that's Bryan. So I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it more the second time because it did go different places, but it was a very dense movie. And we'll get in more to.
Hold on, I do have more to say.
A problem. Nope, you're done. A problem I have to say with Green Lanterns when it comes to them appearing in things. But I enjoyed it. Bryan, go ahead and say what you want to say.
Oh wait, hold on. What did you said to us? I don't know if he's laughing at what you said or the chat or something.
Oh, I was laughing
that's
at what
cool.
he said.
Okay.
I like the chat though.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I felt like the movie had it had 20-minute spurts. So like the first 20 minutes were fairly decent. Then the second 20 minutes I got really bored and I got really worried. And then the next 10 to 20 minutes, oh, so this is where we're going. And then we went somewhere else, and I'm like, so we're not going to go touch the good stuff that could possibly make this movie good. And then we got another 20 minutes, and I was like, well, this is going downhill again. And then in the last 20 minutes, I'm like, yeah, this should have been Kyle. and that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so if you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and you can turn off the podcast here. And from this point on, we're going to get into spoilers and really review the movie. So here's your opportunity. Ready, set, goodbye. Okay, so if you're still here with us, we're going to talk about it in details. Like I said, it did just come out. I know that some people now with these films wait till they hit HBO Max. And what's interesting is they used to have the schedule of 2 weeks on digital, then physical, and then streaming on HBO Max. But now they're dropping digital and physical the same day, and I have no idea what the schedule release is for like HBO Max. But anyways, so I know Bryan's biting at the bit, and we're gonna get there. Bryan's at home whittling. I know what Bryan was saying about Kyle. I get it. But my issue is it seems like it's very hard to do something with a Green Lantern in a film and make it about that Green Lantern without borrowing elements from other Green Lanterns. And it feels like a lot of times Green Lanterns are amalgamized. Well, give me an example.
Well, wasn't Kyle like the guy who he was the last lantern holding the light, and it was his job to, I don't want to say rebuild the Lantern Corps, but
it sure was.
And
that's what I'm saying. Like,
and that's what I mean. Bryan had much more to talk about because he knows Green Lantern way better than I do, and Kyle is his favorite. So
Kyle is my favorite. It's just okay. Like, it's not hard to do a Green Lantern story with whatever character you're using. Like John is a soldier, so having in this movie going into that soldier aspect of the Rand Thanagar war and him not wanting to kill, and then he kills anyway, whatever.
Well, no, I mean that was
a-
his PTSD from the war,
the whole
that
thing,
seems like a story element. That seems like a story element from New Frontier that Hal had there.
Yeah, it does. With the knife and the chest. So let's give a quick summary so we can really dissect it here.
Should have been Kyle.
I mean,
every single part of that freaking movie was a Kyle story.
And that's what I was saying. Like,
Everything.
you're taking a character and giving them another Green Lantern story. Like,
it's bullshit.
So it starts out, we see John as a sniper. He's a war sniper, and all of his platoon is killed. And we see him get stabbed through the hand, and then it cuts to it's a PTSD flashback. We see a scene of him fighting some people in the alley, some guys who are beating up a bum.
And then as
they poured gas on the bum, and then he's arrested by the police, and they let him go. And then Ganthet crashes. And so Ganthet crashes, and the ring is given to John, and Ganthet disappears. And then John goes to the Justice League Tower, which gets him where he runs into Martian Manhunter, Vixen, Green Lantern, and it starts them on a quest to figure out what happened. They end up Green. Yeah, that's what I meant. Green Arrow. They go to Oa, then towards Thanagar, Rand, and we are introduced to a whole cascade of characters. And then at the end, John is tasked with rebuilding the Green Lantern Corps. And like Bryan has pointed out, that is a Kyle story. So just without saying like it should have been this or should have been that, think about it as it's a rebooted universe in an ongoing comic universe.
Yeah, I think where time is passing, or you can't keep saying it should have been Kyle. All right, that'll get real boring.
Because
it's on the record. It's on the record.
Did we get John in the previous continuity?
We did.
I think we did. Did we get Kyle?
No, not that I recall.
I don't remember. So
we did have Hal, and then there was John there. Definitely. Like I think in this universe, like, we talk about a whole host of characters, So in this movie, we get Martian Manhunter back. We haven't seen him since Man of Tomorrow. We see Vixen. We get introduced to Vixen. We get introduced to a Green Arrow. We get introduced
which we were teased. We were teased Green Arrow at the end of Long Halloween.
Right. I believe they did say something.
Remember, he shows up with Flash at Batman's house?
Yeah.
In the post-credit scene?
Yes. So we got Shiera. We get Adam Strange, which is really cool. It's something I'd like to discuss when we get to him. Then they got Rand and Thanagar, and the Rand and Thanagarian War, which is a big cosmic event. And then Sinestro and some of his people there. Then we get Hal. We see Hal, who is believed to be dead throughout the majority of this movie.
So the one thing is, this new universe is moving at a faster pace where a lot of stuff's happening that we're not privileged to.
Yeah, like the Justice
Okay.
League
So
is
Green Lan-
around, and there's a watchtower.
I felt. See,
Right.
that's why I asked you guys. Like, I felt when this movie started, I felt like I missed a movie,
especially when they
and I
said
didn't.
how.
Yeah, like I felt like there's so much story that was missing. Like we see Vixen. I don't remember Vixen in another movie.
Nope.
Green Arrow. I mean, we saw him at the end of Long Halloween, which that's the research I was doing. I was trying to see if there was a post credit scene that I missed,
Nope.
but just at Long Halloween with the Flash and stuff. Super and then Man of Tomorrow. You had Manhunter in there, but the talk of making a club or whatever was in Justice Society.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was like a whole movie or two that could have happened before this movie.
I thought that we were being introduced to John Stewart first as the Green Lantern, and that's the way they were going to go with this.
Yeah, when they brought in Hal, I got concerned for the story.
I was like, okay, all right, interesting, because did you guys catch that they make the off reference that Superman and Wonder Woman are off on a mission, off planet? We haven't even met Wonder Woman yet.
Oh, did they? That must have been something
Yeah,
I missed.
yeah,
Because
they did.
Because I know Martian Manhunter
That's what
said who
a
him
movie
and
was missing.
somebody else, like the Flash, was capable of.
The Flash is on a mission.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman and Superman won't be back till next week, and Batman's done one of his disappearing acts.
Yeah, so Martian Manhunter was the only
what they
one
say.
who could administrate.
That's why Martian Manhunter said.
Watchtower.
But I found it interesting the fact that we have not met Wonder Woman yet, and she's mentioned off screen.
I do find that interesting. One thing that I have enjoyed about these series of movies is there is an entire world, an entire universe of things happening around, and we're only privy to the story we're being told.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would like to see
anything.
more. Yeah, I would like to see more of what's happening, but I like that idea of, a lot of stuff is happening with everybody else. They're all doing their own thing. So, you can't always have Superman there to be the big hitter and save the day, because he's doing that someplace else.
Now, I know Bryan makes a valid point about it's, they're taking from Kyle, but I mean,
Brian's always right.
Look what they did to Kyle in Superman the Animated Series. It was Kyle Rayner, but he had Hal Jordan's story.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I was.
So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they always mix match the Green Lantern stuff. But I look at it as this is a rebooted universe, and things are playing out differently than they were supposed to, because this is a new world.
Yeah, I mean, stories have to change. Universes have to change.
And think about John Stewart's the most famous Green Lantern to an entire generation because of the Justice League cartoon.
And that's why it should have been John's story.
And also, I mean, John was at one point supposed to be in a movie. It was supposed to be in the Green Lantern series that we don't even know if will ever happen or whatever. So looking at this as just being like, okay, this is the story they wanted to tell is fine. But if they hadn't brought Hal in, I think I would have been more okay with everything, because you're trying to tell a really solid Green Lantern story, and this is the Green Lantern you want to use. I mean, first of all, there's way too many Green Lanterns from Earth. There are way too many now.
Well, I think the idea of so bringing Hal into this really gives the story a pass the torch device. It gives
It's
it's a
funny
really
you say
strong
pass the
torch story.
It's funny you say pass the torch because you know who the torchbearer is? It's Kyle.
Oh God.
He runs the Olympics, but Kyle hasn't been created yet. That's the whole point. Like, you have to keep looking at
Pretty
this
much.
universe.
Now he's Jon
Doesn't
Stewart.
have Kyle. It's a film adaptation.
Okay, let me break it down to you. Okay, Kyle gets his ring
Right, we know this.
from an alley, from Ganthet in an alley.
Right, we know this. We know that it's a Kyle story, but we're analyzing the movie as it is.
It's several Kyle stories.
Right. It should have been Kyle, and John should have got his own story. But they did what they always did.
Can I talk?
For Flash and Green Lantern,
Didn't
and
you
made
want
an
me to be
amalgam.
here? Didn't you want me to be
Yeah.
here?
I want to talk about the movie. And
I am talking about the
not
movie.
just go over and over that you just keep saying that it's because it's a Kyle movie and it's a Kyle story.
I just want to say that Jon Stewart's story, that I guess you guys don't know, John's story is powerful, man. Like in the comics,
they should have brought back him as a architect working.
There you go. Yeah.
After he got out of the military, but they got that discarded a long time ago.
What I thought we were going to get, instead of the Rand Thanagar War, which yes, it is a Kyle story, and the whole Hal thing, which is a Kyle story. I understand, but I feel bringing Hal into this movie was too soon. We never got to see Hal as a hero, so the whole Parallax story, going that route and that betrayal of Hal. I'm so sorry, I can't even talk. The betrayal of Hal has no impact if you don't see him be the hero.
Right, I agree. It
has zero impact, and yeah, I love Kyle because Kyle never really knew himself as a Lantern. He felt he wasn't worthy of it. So to see John not want it in the first place, that is part of John's story for sure. He didn't totally want it, but Kyle felt he wasn't worthy. Around Infinite Crisis time is actually right before Infinite Crisis is where the Rand Thanagar War takes place, and Kyle gets into that war against Guardian orders. So that story, the Rand Thanagar War, is so important to the rebuilding of the Green Lantern Corps because a Thanagarian and a Randidian or whatever, one of each is chosen to be members of the Green Lantern Corps. So I thought we were going to see a little bit of John kind of during this time. John is kind of like off to the side, and Guy Gardner are kind of teaching the new Corps. But that's an interesting part of the story where you see these two people at war having to work together. That was interesting. But John's big arc as a Green Lantern is when he accidentally destroys a planet. And you saw that a little bit in the Justice League cartoon, but in the comics, he's not sure of himself as a Green Lantern, kind of like Kyle. And we could have got more of that. I would have liked the story of him being a Green Lantern, maybe getting caught in something. No how yet. Like let's forget about how. And he's responsible for destroying Fatality's planet, because Fatality, if you don't know who Fatality is, Fatality was an alien who Jon Stewart accidentally destroyed her planet, completely accidentally, and she became a Green Lantern hunter. And you get this whole story arc alongside of Kyle's story, kind of leading into Hal Jordan coming back, of John having to face that guilt, and it actually made him paralyzed, and he couldn't walk because he held on to that guilt in his mind, and his willpower, like his defeat was so strong that he couldn't walk. And Kyle had to go in there and kind of release that guilt and have him realize that he is worthy to be a lantern. That even though we make mistakes, that we're still worthy of being a hero. And that's John's arc. That I was a soldier. I killed people. I did things that I shouldn't have done, and I'm still a soldier. That's why he never wore the mask, because he was proud of being a Green Lantern, and he was proud of being that soldier. So you need somebody on the Justice League that's like a soldier. That's why I like seeing Hawkgirl in this story, because I really liked when they were kind of had that romantic relationship in the Justice League cartoon. Like those two, it worked. It made sense. So
once again,
the soldier
having
arc.
Hawkgirl.
Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say just having Hawkgirl plays in to the Justice League cartoon, because once again, John's the most famous because of that cartoon. Now,
Yeah.
James.
So the soldier arc, he has a very strong soldier arc in this story. What you're talking about is how many issues did it take to tell that story of accidentally destroying a planet, losing all hope, all this stuff, Kyle coming in, bringing him back up. Like, you're talking about a major arc across multiple issues of a comic book. This is an hour and a half. This is 90 minutes, not even, of a movie.
So that's
we're
why there
trying
should have been
to get.
another movie before this.
Well,
should
that's
have
the
been.
thing. We everybody knows how. Okay, everybody knows how. In this movie, we didn't see it. I agree that seeing him be a hero and the betrayal would be more impactful. But everybody knows how. Everybody knows him as a Green Lantern. He was the Green Lantern for the Justice League that we haven't seen. And on Oa, he is known as and collected as the greatest Green Lantern in the universe. Like, they put that out there. We know this. They put it in there, and we know this going into the movie. Even though it's not something we've seen in this universe, this is something that we know. And I think they expect that the people who are watching it know this. Especially when they tell it to you.
It's like shortcuts. Like, you can build your own thing, like in your mind. Like, you could almost just say that Hal Jordan's story was Green Lantern First Flight. Like, I'm going to rewatch that one, I think.
That was
soon.
a great one. That was a great one.
You could almost say that's the Green Lantern of this.
Huh.
And then this is
it really could be. Green Lantern First Flight could be the beginning of Hal Jordan's story, because what I said I wanted to talk about with Adam Strange was this Adam Strange is the Adam Strange from the DC Showcase short. This is the same guy. He's got the scar. He's wearing the same clothes. He's got the same hair and beard and jetpack. This is the same Adam Strange from the DC animated short that came out a few years ago. So, like
where he loses his family.
Mm-hmm.
It ties in.
And he's drinking on that planet, and he ends up saving people and stuff there, and the Zeta Beam finally comes to get him again.
What that short was attached to what?
Oh,
remember?
Man, no, I don't remember what it was.
Hold on. Keep talking. I'm going to check.
But, I mean, these are things that we know, So, obviously, they made a choice on who they want to use. And in many years recently in the past, that's what they've been trying to do. So many people have been trying to get a Green Lantern show off the ground. We got John Diggle, who's like maybe your analog for Jon Stewart on the CW, They tried to bring in Jon Stewart, or Zach tried to bring in Jon Stewart at the end of the Snyder Cut. the reason that he wasn't used in other medias is because they've said that they wanted to use Jon Stewart for other things. Like, he's a big draw for the Green Lantern. So,
Yep.
like, for this to be his story, I mean, so he's a soldier. He has PTSD. He gets this ring. It won't come off. He's reluctant to. All he wants to do is get it off. Obviously, some crazy stuff happens to him right away. And then, as he goes on this adventure, he starts to, just like he says, he's just passing the time. He's doing ring training with things that are programmed in the ring to get him, so that way he learns to control those abilities. And along the way he learns what it means to be a Green Lantern, and that he is a soldier, and if things happen like the betrayal of Hal and him being killed, so you can't beat yourself up for things that you do if you've done them for the right reason. Sure, they're going to affect you, and it'll be something that you always think about, but it's not if you did it for the potentially the right reason, it alleviates a little bit of guilt.
Let's talk about the one thing that bothered me. Where was Hot Girl's belly button? In every drawing, she never had a belly button, which made me think, do Thanagarians not have belly buttons? Do they come from eggs, or are they born?
Maybe they lay eggs.
That was what was
have
bothering
an umbilical,
me a
right?
lot. So I'm just saying, like that.
I didn't
that was
notice
me,
that it's not something I thought about.
Can we talk about something that I thought was really positive? Can we get on the happy train for a minute?
Absolutely. I love
Bryan,
this movie.
Is that okay?
I would like to talk about this movie and the good and the bad, not just how it wasn't about Kyle.
I think Parallax looked awesome.
I think this is the best Green Arrow we've had in a long time. I love the voice. I love the action. It's nice to see a real Green Arrow again.
And I was surprised. I saw who did the voice, and I was like, that guy is great. Like, I've seen him in so many things, and he is so good. He is so funny. And I would never, ever picture him as Green Arrow, but he did the voice, and it was great.
Yes, it was. I really liked this Green Arrow. This is first best Green Arrow, of course, is the Justice League Unlimited, and then this one. But it was just nice to see Green Arrow properly used.
Yeah, and his interactions with John were really good. He's talking about alien tech, future tech. He said how intuitive it is. So just thinking about that, he was able to utilize it just because it's supposed to be easier to use. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be intuitive, him telling John to tell his ring to fly the ship, take us to Oa.
Send the coordinates.
Yeah, saying that the Guardians don't like humans, and he's like, why? Because they met you? And he said, no, but that's good. And he just kept going. He rolled with it. I loved it. It was, yeah.
he agreed with the insult. He's like, yeah, that's good. And I mean, one thing you see is the building of the friendship between Green Arrow and Jon Stewart, and the end where we actually Green Arrow shoots the arrow that kills Hal Jordan, which is strong. What did you think about that, Bryan?
Oh, the arrow.
Yeah, through Green Arrow being the one that killed Hal.
At the beginning of the movie, I kind of felt like Green Arrow was off. And I think I kind of felt that because in the Rann-Thanagar War during that time, Green Arrow was a lot more mature and a little different. But seeing him notice that Hal was different, seeing him see Hal kill people, seeing him see that his friend was changed, his friend wasn't different, or his friend was different, really reflected the Emerald Twilight story, which was like, you know, the fall of Hal and the rise of Parallax, and then to see them copy that part from Zero Year, you know, in Zero Year, and kind of like in this movie here, nobody could take down Parallax, nobody could take down Hal, and for this makes me emotional thinking about it, because they did it so well in this, as they did in the comic, when Ollie pulls that arrow out and shoots his best friend through the chest and kills him. And then they had him say in this movie exactly what he said in the comics, you know, like, I had to kill my best friend.
Yeah,
and
that was
in the
great.
comic, it was really good. In the comics, he, like, everybody's so shocked by the moment, and they all look at Ollie, and he just drops his bow on the ground, and he just walks away. Like, he goes, they're fighting Parallax in this, like, the exist like like in this void of time and existence, and Ollie still separates himself and just walks away.
Right.
That was really
Well, that also
powerful.
seems
And yeah,
like a part where, you know, they've been doing this for so long, and that might be a point where he could, like, walk away for the moment or
yeah,
something. You know what I mean? To
and
deal with it.
that is a particular part why I'm glad you guys brought up First Flight and stuff. Just to, yeah, that could work as the hero
I might watch
of
it
how.
tonight or tomorrow. It's not that
Yeah,
bad.
I think I might too.
Is it streaming?
I think it's on HBO Max.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. I
So
was
is
looking at
Emerald
the
Knight.
years that Green Lantern things came out.
Um,
First Flight came out in 2009.
It was like the
Um,
third movie they did, I think.
yeah, it
yeah,
was one of the real early ones. It was
It was
really
the
good,
fourth.
really good. Um,
yeah.
yeah, the
I also liked how John, like, other than the soldier story and John, you know, accepting being Green Lantern, I really liked how they had him in the trench coat the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when he fully understood it, like when he said the Green Lantern oath and took it seriously, and why it's important, and not blowing it off, that was a good moment. I really like that.
yeah, because
I
the
know I say a lot. I'm sorry. I now I'm going. I really like the look of Parallax too. I loved the look of Parallax in this. The green all around, but also seeing the corruption of the yellow kind of pulsate in veins through him. I thought he looked awesome. That was done really well.
yeah,
I
you know,
I
you
agree.
talk
I
about the
like that.
oath at the end there. Like, one of the things I really liked with the Green Arrow was the where he tells him the oath, and he says, "Say it loud, say it proud."
Yep,
And then he just kind of
damn right.
mutters the oath in there, and it charges up, and he's like, "What kind of hokey lame ass?" Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, and it was Green Arrow. It was Ollie that knew the importance of that, and what it meant to Hal.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna probably go back and forth. Just, what happens to the dogs? They're alive. What happens to Hal in this? Because like I said, tomorrow I might watch First Flight and then watch this and see if I feel like there's a fuller story there. Because there's nothing connecting to First Flight, so there's no reason it can't be.
Yeah, I mean,
And
basically, you get the fall of Sinestro in that, right?
yeah, So I mean that might work really well. I haven't watched Emerald Knights in a long time, so I might end up watching that too. I do want to give a shout out to our man Jason J. Lewis, who voiced Ganthet for all of 2 lines and some moaning. I felt bad he got robbed again, poor guy. But he also voiced Captain Cantus, which had more lines, so that made me happy that he got to do that. Mr. Lewis there, number 3 in the battle of best Superman voices of all time. So with this film, it's like films that are connected but are very loose, because we could trace changes and stuff in the previous continuity. This is a much looser continuity of films, but we're getting a lot of characters. We're getting how many characters we get in this. So my question is, we talked about last episode with the announcements that the Justice League War World being a continuity film, and we get to see all these characters together that have been kind of here and there. I think that would work. Thoughts?
Well, I almost thought that we were getting War World in this film, because when that android or not android,
right? So did I. I thought it was a tease
asteroid.
for
Yeah, that's what I thought. That asteroid opening up and shooting the missiles at them. I was like, oh, so is this War World, and then ended up being the Rand Thanagar War. I felt that was a little tease. So if we are getting War World in the future, yeah, I think it's gonna be all of them. Because there is a story of Wonder Woman and Superman having to go into space a little bit before this pre-Infinite Crisis era that the Rand Thanagar went through. And in that story, for you Superman fans out there, in that story, Wonder Woman and Superman, they end up being trapped on a world, or in a trance, or in this world for 100-something years when they go on this mission. And in it, they kind of start feeling feelings for each other. And then it leads into a story when they come back of Jimmy Olsen taking a photo of Superman wearing a wedding ring. And then there's this whole entire, it was a great, this story had a whole lot of potential, but they threw it away in 3 issues. I think I even whined to Tyler about it. But Jimmy takes this picture, and then Perry tells him that you got to publish that photo. We can't edit it out. Or somebody does it. I think it was Perry or whatever. But and then Wonder Woman, and everybody's like, "Whoa, Wonder! He's married to Wonder Woman. Oh no, yeah." So to protect Lois, the Justice League all puts on wedding rings, and they have this big public meeting saying, "Hey, we're married to the mission." And that's why Superman was wearing it. I don't know. There was a lot of potential there. But anywho, so I kind of hope that they go into that love triangle with Lois, Wonder Woman, Supes, because I like that love triangle. And
they already did that in the last continuity.
Oh yeah, they did do that in the last continuity. What the heck am I talking about?
Like I said, I feel like
I
this
just have
one,
so much comic knowledge. I'm just happy to be here. I'm going to shut up now.
Well, one thing that bothered me is when they brought back Young Justice, is they started using a lot of the character models from the animated continuity run in seasons 3 and 4. So trying to I'll remember a character and I'm like, wait, That was in Young Justice, not the animated films. So it can be kind of confusing. But I like this new continuity. I like the art style. I like the color, the brightness to it. I also like the score for this movie. It's very almost horror type movie score. But I think we're going to put a pin in it here. On a letter grade, what would you guys give it?
Oh, I'm not sure. I really wish I knew. I'm going to have to, make a little chart on my letter grades on kind of how I have gone through with these movies. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. Really good story. I compared it to the live action movie that we got with Ryan Reynolds back there in 2011. And I think the way they did that, I don't think they introduced Parallax well enough.
Nope.
I don't think
that movie is an amalgamated mess.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it just wasn't the right route to go to try and start it.
To me, Parallax is the Phantom Menace of Green Lantern.
So, and I think this being that story where, they pass the torch from Hal to John here, and by using Parallax to give you that idea, that Hal had gone bad. I think it was done. I think it was done very well. I do agree, a little bit that it was kind of like, if we think about it, back in First Flight and then kind of up to here, like we get some of that story. So I did think that was a little bit of a detraction, that might knock it down half a grade for me. So it was kind of like it kind of came and went. It came in and it hit real fast. He came in, he ended up being the bad guy, and it was over.
I do think about when we did Justice League versus the Fatal Five. If you're a Green Lantern, you're dealing with that Jessica, and it's not. We don't get the full Trinity War story thing, and that movie is one of those films that exists where it feels like it's a continuation from the animated series, but it's really not. But you have the animated series as their backdrop in your brain. Right. But even the animated series, we got Kyle Rayner. Then in Justice League, we have Jon Stewart. And then I think there's one episode later where Hal Jordan shows up. As a real quick, blip. I think it's when the android is coming back to Earth.
It's some kind of time displacement thing or something.
Yeah.
And he switches to Hal, and then he's like, yeah, my ring caught me up. And then he switches back.
Yeah, exactly. So, even then, we didn't get this, the backstories to these other versions. The one thing is, did you guys notice? Did you see Kilowog dead?
I know I saw Tomar Ray dead.
Yep, Tomar Ray was the first one that got your attention when you show up on Oa. But I didn't see Kilowog.
Yeah, there was a big one, but he didn't strike me as Kilowog. I was like, is that Kilowog? Because, he's big, but I don't think that...
There was one human that was down that I almost wonder if it was Guy Gardner or not. He's down, he's in the foreground.
Yeah, he didn't have red hair, though.
Right, and that's why I was like, maybe not. But I was thinking, okay. Because let's face it, there are too many human Green Lanterns. Too many.
Yeah. I think it's kind of... So, as I would give this for a letter grade, I would probably give this, a B plus.
I'm on a B.
I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I thought the story was really great. The characters, the interaction, the way they brought in Adam Strange, and he was the one from the animated short. I thought that was great. There, yeah, I'm definitely gonna, I'm gonna give it a B plus. The character stuff really did it for me, and the voice acting was top notch. I thought everybody did a great job. Aldous Hodge, the guy Jimmy something, I forget his name.
Jimmy Simpson.
That sounds right.
Jimmy Simpson.
Yeah, as Green Arrow. Brian Bloom as Adam Strange, and I don't know the voice actor who did Hal, but
it was Nolan North.
Oh, was it? That's why he sounded so familiar, and why he was so good, because he delivered it all perfect. Like, yeah, I didn't notice that it was Nolan North. I didn't catch all of the names. I just kind of I picked out who I want. I wanted to see like when I looked at the cast, I was like, okay, is this the same guy who played Adam Strange in that short? And unfortunately, it was not. But he did a great job. And then I saw the guy who did Green Arrow, and I was like, oh, I love that guy. And that was kind of it.
Yeah, for those who are like, okay, if just off the top of my head, things that this dude's been in. He was in the Jason Biggs movie Loser as one of the roommates that pick on Jason Biggs' character. He was in a couple episodes of Psych as the character of Mary. He's actually in multiple episodes. He actually appears in Psych the movie as well. And he was Joshua Speed in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And that's off the top of my head.
Yeah, and the one other thing I know him from specifically is he's the guy in How I Met Your Mother who's playing Edward Forty Hands with Marshall.
Yeah. Yes, I knew there was more. I just couldn't think of everything. But and then of course Jason J. Lewis, always awesome. And I don't even want to try. Ike Amandi is returned as Martian Manhunter. Jamie Gray as Dre Hyder as Hawk Girl. Mara Janat as Lysa Drack and Bantha Dar. And Keisha Sharp as Vixen. So good. I mean, it was a very good cast. I will say, if just a quick side note, talking about voice acting, I listened to all of Batman Unburied, and the Riddler's voice on that was spot on perfect. I took my free trial for Spotify and listened to it very quickly. So it was good. I liked it, but I will be honest with you. I thought Batman's voice was the weakest out of all of them. I thought Riddler was awesome. But that's just a side note. But
so what about your
Bryan?
letter grade, Bryan?
What letter grade would you give the film?
What film are we talking about again? Oh, Green Lantern. Letter grade. I would give this one.
We're talking about 7 brides for 7 brothers, Bryan. Get it straight.
Yeah, and each brother is going to get its own letter grade, and then each woman's going to get her letter grade. I'm already going to say Benjamin's an A+, and Dorcas is an A++.
Yes, sir.
And then Gideon will be a B.
Let's be real. All those women would marry James anyway.
What do you call it? Daniel would be he'd be the last one.
Mormonism?
He's the worst. Brother Daniel's the worst. But letter grade for Green Lantern before we go off on our tangent of our soon to be episode.
Yeah, I give it a B. I give it a B.
All right. So there we go. We pretty much have an average of B, 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 A, 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 B, 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 C, 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 D, D, D. If you don't know what I'm referencing, that's good. For everyone out there, thanks for listening. Bryan, thanks for joining us. Find Bryan as Manchild of Steel on Twitter. And remember,
Look up in the sky. Yes, it's me, Sailor.
we just want to say if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network. Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find all of our information right there. $1 a month, you'll get extra special content that you don't get on the main show, like movie commentaries and whatever else comes out of our mouths. So check it out, patreon.com/Krypton Report.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough Super Talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, the Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, Caped Wonder, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope Podcast.
Hey, we're going to press pause and hear a few words from our other podcasts on Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.